Okay, so let's talk about Chebyshev's theorem just a little bit. Chebyshev's theorem is the more generalized version of the empirical rule. So if you remember, the empirical rule only applies if your data is bell-shaped, normal distribution. Chebyshev's theorem says for any set of data, at least, here's the one version, at least 8/9 of the data will fall within plus or minus 3 standard deviations of the mean. So again, we need the standard deviation and we need the mean. It says plus or minus, remember, plus or minus, that's how we would write this. 3 standard deviations, we might write it that way, 3 sigma. 3 standard deviations will have 8/9 of the data. In fact, the more generalized is that we can say we'll have at least 1 minus 1 over k squared of the items in any data set will fall within plus or minus k standard deviations of the mean. So k in this sense is just sort of a placeholder, doesn't mean anything. But k would be how far away from the mean in terms of standard deviations do you want to go out. So this doesn't work for 1, but let's do 2. So we did 3 here, so let's do 2. So let's just let k equal to 2. So 2 standard deviations. So we would say 1 minus 1 over 2 squared. What's 2 squared? That's 1/4, right? So 2 squared is 4. So 1 minus 1/4 equals 3/4. Right, 1 minus 1/4 equals 3/4. So we would say 3/4 of all observations in any data set are plus or minus 2 standard deviations away from the mean. So that's cool. All right, so it works even further. So we went to 3. If we do 4, it'd be 1 over 4 squared, which is 16th. So it would be 15/16. All right, so 15/16 of all data would be within 4 standard deviations. So that's like just about everything. So really what that tells us is that if we find something that's more than about 3 or 4 standard deviations away from the mean in just about any distribution, we should be a little bit alarmed. That just shouldn't happen very often. It could happen because things are variable, but the further we get out there, something is even more and more further away from the mean in terms of standard deviations, we would be likely to say, well, that's an outlier or there's something goofy going on there. All right, so that's it for Chebyshev's. Again, that's the more generalized version of the empirical rule. All right.